gonna go over a couple things, just so what I think. We'll just kind of go from there. Same as usual, just a couple thoughts. I'll try to go pretty quick on some of this stuff. A lot of it seems fairly straightforward with what's going on. So let's just kind of get into it. So we'll start with Apple, we usually look at, and we can see the week started right above here, which I don't really care. I mean, this is like, okay, this doesn't really mean anything specific to me. So the play here was, for me anyway, was right from here to here. Um, I guess if I wanted to, I could have held it and maybe possibly it would have went, for something like that. But I just did this movement right here. We could see that it's pretty straightforward to see that we were more likely than not going to get pushed up today. Odds wise, more likely than not, we're going to get pushed up, right? We can see, we can see this here, starting under, right under, boom. This is even closer here than it was here, which is pretty wild for what it is. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. That's kind of where we are now. This isn't really pretty for what it is. I'm not a huge fan of it. We'll kind of see where things go with Apple. I don't really have any specific direction for it right now. I would have preferred if we started, same thing, we started somewhere around here. I do believe we have some 4 hours around here also as well. A lot of the resistance, as usual, has been residing in this area, which is nice. In this area, so much more than I believe here. The day time frame is pretty close by, but I do believe now we have a decent gap right in this area here, right? So we have our week time frame, which should be somewhere around the 155.50 this next week. Yeah, it should be slightly higher than 155. What is that, 53? Yeah, so it should be 155.61, maybe somewhere around there this next week. And then we'll have a little bit of a open space. So we can see the week is going to be right up here. The day is going to be right up here. So in that same sense, this is pretty much, where is it? Let's see. This looks like pretty free space and easy money. If we can manage to get into this area, more so like if we can, I don't know if we will. It doesn't really look like it with a lot of this stuff, but anything can happen overnight. But anyway, it'd be nice to see if we could start the week up here. I highly doubt it. It seems like a pretty straightforward move. It's almost $14. It's a $14 move, so that's pretty wild. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. I don't think there's really too much more to go over. I think I put something out here saying I didn't like it at some point. I really don't. I don't remember all the specifics. I haven't been caring about a lot of it. I didn't mess with most of this. And I remember saying in my last video, the two spots were here and here. Well, like here, and we never start. I thought we might have started. We didn't start under. So that's pretty much Apple in a nutshell. We'll see if the rest of the market kind of goes with that. I do believe some of these are fairly toppy from the perspective of the August highs. It's only for the Dow Jones, though. Obviously, as we remember, August should be here, right? Yeah, August. This is NASDAQ with the S&P. So it's a very big difference between, um, the NASDAQ and the S&P and the Dow Jones pretty much right now. Which kind of makes sense for the NASDAQ. I don't remember everything on the S&P. I'm pretty sure there's a decent amount of big tech stocks, but it's nothing like the NASDAQ, though. NASDAQ's just full of crappy tech stocks. So one of the last things we kind of said, just to go over NASDAQ, I guess, real quick, and we can go over to Bitcoin, some other things. So pretty much here, the question was that I was kind of posing myself is, so let's do it from the day time frame. So this would have been the play for me if I was messing with the NASDAQ 100, not Apple, or at least take profit here, or probably get out when it was coming down. But the kind of question I was posing in the last video was, does this essentially count as being up there? And I still don't know. More or less, to me, though, the range has already been completed. The buy point was right here. We start slightly above and then, exit somewhere around here. Expecting it to go hit it or go through it sometimes is a little ridiculous, but sometimes it happens. So it still doesn't look any better from where we left it. For me, it still looks pretty like this looks like a great spot down here at 11,000. So I would think that NASDAQ at this point would be coming back down to 11,000. We'll kind of see what happens. We can see a hit on the line here on the day, on the day 500 for the whole average. And then we see here. So we do fall through here. It seems pretty likely that we'll break through this. And then subsequently, we'll break through this also, and we'll most likely move down here. What I don't like about this is then that brings us over here into the range, brings us into this range. I don't think this this where I have this fib level is, I don't think it's incredibly strong considering everything that's kind of happened right now. And this is so here, I'll look at it like this. This is kind of the easiest way to explain it because I don't want to waste a lot of time. So if this kind of comes down, what are we going to expect? If this bounces from here and then it comes up, then maybe think about taking a position here. It seems pretty wild to expect this to bounce here and then just come up through all of this. Now, sure, it's possible. Anything's possible. But just from a technical standpoint, not thinking about or taking anything else into account, this looks very unlikely. What I would be more likely to expect would be something to come under here, find resistance, get pushed down pretty hard, maybe something all the way down here, and then pop back up. This would be a possible entry point, but more specifically somewhere right here for it to come back up. That gives us a decent amount of time space for consolidation and a farther move downwards, and it would just look a lot better. So we'll see what happens with it all. Bitcoin's still pretty sketchy. A couple things I guess I could say about Bitcoin is so from the week time frame, the good and the bad. The good is it's sold pretty hard. The bad, if we want to go back to this, which I'm not going to go through all of it over again, but if we want to, is this the left side? Yeah, we're on the left side. All right. So if we want to refer to the shift pitchfork, our base is still all the way down here. So while this is sold quite a bit, it's still in here. We can see it's been finding resistance here, and the support should be either somewhere down here, maybe 14K. I really don't have a good outlook on Bitcoin. We'll kind of see what happens with all this other stuff. Though I will say the good about it is we can see on this. So if we see right here, we see it's the week 200 smooth average right there. We've never been under it before. I guess this isn't the good, but we've never been under it before. If we go to BLX, I don't feel like it. But if we go to BLX, it comes all the way down here at this point too and touches it also as well. So we had a 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. So now this is the first. I guess I could show it real quick just to kind of show it. So we have 1, 2, 3. Right there's the January. I'm sorry, not the August drop, but on January, boom, down there. So yeah, we've never really been under. So from the week perspective, I don't like this. From the week time frame perspective, let's go to the normal one. So from the week time frame perspective, what I do like is there hasn't been any rejection on the week time frame. So from that perspective, I could see some buying in coming in this week. Though, as always, I think that's really dependent on the market. Though I can see buying coming into this if the market does well. That's what I would expect. The one thing I don't like is if we look, this is where that week 200 is. On the day time frame, we did get rejection at this spot. I guess the other obvious horrible thing is, I mean, this is pretty nice. Like I was saying before, I still wanted to see it come above 22.4. The two big spots were, I think it was here by here and then here by here, which were already past both of these days. They could have still done it anyway. I don't want to make assumptions because a lot of this was the FTX crap. But this looks really bad. We're not all the way at the we're pretty sold, but we're not all the way at the bottom. I don't know what RSI looks like on it. I don't care. I was thinking about looking at it, but it's gonna take too much time. The dollar, sure, the dollar could move up. The dollar could move down. I don't think this is really anything specific. If some news comes out, everything turns around for the dollar, right? So I think a lot of this was I don't even care about to explain some of the stuff because it's just so stupid. Like I don't even care about the dollar too much. But a lot of this just to the Fed. I think one of the last things that were said were we're not thinking about pausing anytime soon, and that kind of threw a wrench in some stuff. I don't want to get too much into it because I really don't care. So I don't like looking at that. I mean, we can see a couple things right here. The week's all the way at the bottom. I think this can still go down to 98 to 100. What's kind of concerning me more than anything here from the week time frame, I still think we can hit this area easily. Though this is moving up, and next week it should be somewhere even. Actually, no, this is already next week. But each consecutive week is going to go higher and higher and higher. So for the week time frame, looks pretty decent. On the day time frame, we can kind of see where we fell out of both of them, and then found some resistance after that. But it kind of is what it is. This is also, in my opinion, a fairly bad start right here, and it kind of just pushed up. So I don't want to look too much into it and say, for the dollar anyway, and say, oh, this did it because of this, or this did it because of that. It's not worth it. Not it's it feels like I'm stretching something. So a couple things that we can see about the VIX, which is almost just as uncertain in a sense, but it does have some similarities to previous data not too long ago. Is it does kind of feel like this here in a sense. Not, I mean, I guess yeah, we could say it's kind of like here, not the exact same. So if we look at this area here, what can we see? Let's see. Is there a way to make this look nicer? Anyway, so what we can see is, so we start up, we push down, we end in between these two, right? So we start up here, we push down, we end in between these two. The next one starts up, though there is a lot more resistance right above here just to kind of show the day time frames. Did I have them in the wrong spot? No. Yeah, those are in the wrong spot. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, with the daytime frames right there. Okay. So we do have those daytime frames, which turned out to be problematic for it. So, comparatively wise, this ended here in between, started up, then pushed up. I would have been very surprised if this pushed up a whole bunch, just because there's a lot of resistance here. I don't think the daytime frames are right above this. Does not. I'm not talking about one-to-one correlation anyway. So, and then from there, we push down, we end under it, and then we start in again, we push up, right? So here, push down and under, start in, push up a little bit, push down, so this would be our candle 1 or candle 2. This would be our candle 3. This would kind of be our candle. This kind of looks like candle 5 here instead of 4. But either one's I think is kind of fine. So it's kind of interesting in a sense. So from this perspective, I think the VIX definitely could move down more also as well. It is moving down pretty heavily though. Just from like a candlestick perspective, I would be a lot more inclined to think we'd bounce at 2038. But what really worries me about this is if, and maybe I'm wrong. Let's see where we are. So we're at what, 23 on here. So that's what, that's the August drop to here. No, I'm not going to go into it, but I feel like the dollar is moving down at a higher rate than the market is moving up, and that's kind of my big concern. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel like going through all of it, but I'm pretty sure that the dollar and the VIX are moving down a lot more than the market is moving up, and that kind of worries me about those consolidating, and then those being indicators for people to get out. So as I was saying in my last video, it just kind of concerns me what happens if the dollar does come down to here and we're not fighting if it does, and we're not fighting like all-time highs for stuff. So that'll be kind of interesting. Let's see. I don't think there's anything here. I don't think there's anything technical with all this stuff. I mean, on the reversal down, but that was forever ago. Nothing really amazing here. Gold, let's see. I don't know if I'll actually find anything here, to be honest. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I'm going to look through a couple things so I don't ramble. And I'll see if we can find anything. So this is pretty interesting, I suppose, for it. Let me move this over here. We haven't started the month above, but this will be pretty interesting to see. But this doesn't matter until the month ends, or at least maybe technically a week. It's always tragic to see something like this. I would at least maybe like to see a week above it to see it push up. This looks pretty bad to me. It looks like it wants to come all the way back down to this area between 1693 and 1677. That's what it looks like to me anyway. This looks just as ugly too. A little bit tragic though. Could possibly get in right here on this day and then get out right the next day for a no loss, but that's about as good as it gets. We get the start above on the daytime frame, tries to push up, could take a position, right? Starts under, don't want to touch it. No loss trade at least. That's the one nice thing about it. Maybe there is something also as well with other stuff. I haven't been paying attention to too much recently. Just been messing with Apple and haven't really cared too much. It's most of it's been the positions I've been taking have been pretty straightforward. So, like if we look at Apple compared to some of these other ones, or we think about what we just saw with Apple compared to some of these other ones, it's been pretty straightforward. Like let's take Mara for example. Well, we start up here, now we're all the way down here. Now a lot of this was the FTX kind of crap that came out, but I do think there was some like weird oddities with this. I think Amazon had some weird stuff going on as well. But if we do this, let's do this. If we bring like Apple up, right? Let's go Apple week time frame. Like, right, it's just, it looks way worse, especially on something like Amazon here where it's 200 smooth and we're just under it consistently. And then, what are some of the other big ones? Fun, I don't care about Fun. Upstart's just been getting wrecked. I think this has been holding pretty well. This is actually a really nice entry point on WD40, which is a little bit surprising. DraftKings been doing pretty well too. I think DraftKings had a, yeah, so we'll see what happens. Just moving in between this. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think it looks too good. So if we look at this from here to here and we treat it from here to here, I really like this. What this says to me is we'll bounce here. Be afraid if we do have something starting under, though we do have a day time frame here, so I'm not as worried if this just came back down. But all things, context. But one thing this says to me is over like an extension, with. So to me, this seems like it has a pretty high chance to come back down. So this looks, it'll be pretty interesting though. Actually, no, I mean, it might really just come down. One thing I will say that we can kind of see, maybe not so much here, maybe a little bit, but I feel like what we can see is that ever since we came down from this spot right here, we have support, just blows through it. We have support, it just blows through it. And here too, like if this is going to be support or for anything, or this is going to be support for here, I wouldn't be surprised if DraftKings just blows back down. Like it looks, I have this overall kind of bearish feeling about it. Or what actually, it at least feels like a take profit spot. Now let's see if the market opens. I think that's when most of this matters. Oh yeah, Target had its thing. Um, yeah, you can see the buy point right here, right? But what was I gonna say? Yeah, Target got Shrek though that one night. It's recovered pretty well though, which is always a good thing. Does FedEx ever push out? Let's see. I guess these are some of the more important ones. US dollar, the Canadian, okay, the Japanese yen's pushing up. What am I looking at? I literally don't care about. I think I have an alert. Yeah, we'll see if this ever actually rises above. I swear, Japanese the yen yields never go anywhere. Where the heck is FedEx? I saw this not too long ago. It's kind of annoying me. Here we go. Oh, they finally pushed up. They got daytime frame averages here, but I remember looking at this saying this is. I mean, this you don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell that this looks nice, right? Like, I mean, you can just see that this looks really nice. There's no handle, right? Because it's after hours, but we also aren't looking at pre-market data, which is probably the other half. But whoops, just what do we go? 4 hour, 4 hour extended hours, right? So now we have our handle. So we have our cup, we have our handle. It looks pretty nice. I don't see why we can't keep pushing up from here. Now I think it depends where a lot of this stuff starts, but it looks pretty decent for it. Smile Direct Club, what are you doing? Man, this thing's being wrecked. I remember looking at this. It literally never got past where I wanted to see it for an entry point. Netflix, still super high. Wow, it's pretty wild to see. Let's get rid of this line. Hurts my eyes. We got the week 200 up here. We'll see what happens with this. God forbid if it ever actually comes under 213. That'll look horrible. IBM's doing pretty well. Looks nice from the week time frame. Do we have anything on the day? Yeah, it looks nice from the week. Looks pretty nice from the day time frame. This is a little upsetting. Oh no, this started under it, right? Oh no, this started right above. Yeah, so that's a little upsetting that happened, but it's not a huge deal. Yeah, I mean technically you could do the same thing here. Get out for a no loss the next day, do the same thing over. It depends what anyone wants to do, or like smaller positions, doesn't matter. I don't try to tell people how to trade. It's too much work. Yeah, so I mean we'll kind of see what happens. I just wanted to go over some of those things. Um, Everything looks pretty sketch. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of this stuff. I guess we can finish it with Doge, where I think like 6 cents looks pretty decent, or back around like 5.5 to 5.8 cents looks pretty decent. Everything looks pretty bad though, so I mean if anyone's investing, I think it's better to just stay away from a lot of this stuff and just be hands off. We'll see what happens, though. Everyone does what they do, so at least the trades that are there are pretty straightforward. But I'll be on tomorrow in the morning, so take care, y'all. Have a good night.